Hello everyone and welcome back. Today I want to teach you the basics of software. Um, don't worry, I won't try to teach you how to code or how to build whole applications. I just want to show you as a CEO or as an entrepreneur um, some basic concepts so that you know what your developers are working on. So as you might know, I am actually the CTO in a startup or have been for quite a time. I don't usually code myself, but deal with the topics that I'm going to show you here, and these are more high-level topics that you need to understand in order to um, come to sensible business decisions. So the core of your software is basically in most of the cases split into the front end and the back end. So the front end is what you can see when you access, for example, your web application or your application, the application on your computer. Okay, per recommendation, I will try to explain all of that on the example of Photoshop. So the place where you can see your pictures and edit them, this would be the front end. Most of the in bigger software projects, in most of the cases you will have an UI UX designer, so people that design the user flow and the experience of your software in the front end. And the usual languages, these software or the code for this software is written in JavaScript, HTML or CSS, and there are some other frameworks. For example, Swift, if you are talking about mobile apps for iPhones, and you do have some libraries or frameworks that use these languages to have a more holistic workflow. The example that I know of or used the most in projects is React. Then the backend is where your business logic is. So in Photoshop, there all the users are handled, the projects of the users are handled, and also it's usually referred to as a separate topic, but I would count your database um, to the backend. So in your database is all the data that your software needs to run properly is stored here, and the most basic like language or even there are some frameworks that base on SQL is these three letters that you see here. They will pop up in conversations with your developers pretty often. So here the most common languages are Python, Java, and C Sharp. You also have some frameworks like Django to handle specific or like use cases that come up often. Yes, and so the people that work on backends are usually even more technical than the ones on the front end, because in most of the cases, these people or the developers on the backend are closer to your infrastructure and hardware. So usually your front end and your back end is connected with several APIs. APIs are interfaces that can be used to connect softwares in so many different manners. So with APIs, you can define what the type of interaction is between software and what should be sent front and back. You can also use like third-party systems. You can hook them up through APIs to your own software. So, for example, a payment system. Then I want to go to three opposites that come up often when working on software projects. So the first one, the first opposite pair is waterfall versus agile, and that refers to the manner on how your software is built. So with the waterfall method, you plan the whole software from the beginning and work through like the steps to get to the holistic or the whole software just at the end. And the agile method has the goal of developing as the first version of your software as fast as possible and then iterate through the feedbacks or the, let's call it, errors or mistakes you made in the first version, so improve on every version. There are multiple structured methods on how to go about such an agile project, but in essence it's about having some sort of MVP and then later different versions that are improved on, but always as a whole software that should work technically. Then next opposites is monolith versus microservices. So with monolith, you have one big code base where all of your business logic is handled at one place. And with microservices, you have, let's call it, several different backends or services as they are referred to here, and they are connected through APIs with one another. And next opposites you will hear often is cloud versus on-prem, or in-house servers. So cloud, you could think of it as a service that is provided by the biggest providers are Google and Microsoft, also Amazon. So they have big data centers and your software is stored there, and you can access them through like infrastructure services like Azure with different technologies. But the difference to on-premise that you have your own server or your own device infrastructure where your whole software is stored. So as you may have seen, these are topics that not always are connected with one another, but this should give you an overview or some key points to start the process of understanding your developers when they are building software. So usually that's the architecture and the languages they use, and these are different ways to go about such a software project. Yes, if you have any questions, if you want to dive deeper into one of the topics, as said, I'm not a developer, I'm not a software engineer, but I do have some knowledge. Drop a comment, I'll try to get back to you, and I wish you a very pleasant day.